Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today is Thursday and we're doing a new release. I know that's, whoa, take a deep breath. I know it's not Friday. But my theater in Oneonta, the South Side, so shout out to you guys, has pre-releases sometimes. I do pre-shows before Friday night opening night, and I was able to go to this one, so I'm really excited. And next week, I am going to see Shang-Chi a day before release. I'm so excited about it, so definitely subscribe if you want an early sneak peek at my thoughts on that. But no spoilers, but today, of course, we're going to be talking about the sequel to the 1992 film, Candyman. Candyman was released in 2021, and it was written by Jordan Peele and Win Rosenfeld and Nia DaCosta, and directed by Nia DaCosta. Now, when I said sequel earlier in the beginning of the film, I mean it's kind of like a spiritual sequel, where it kind of follows the events of the first one, and it heavily does. I strongly suggest you see the 1992 version first. You can find it for free on some streaming services, I'm sure. But I recommend it. They do walk you through some of the parts in this film, like the important parts, but I really do recommend you watch the first one because it's going to make watching this one way easier on you. If you go into this one blind, you'll still get it, but I feel like some people might not fully understand exactly what's happening all the time if they have not seen the original one. This being said, you don't have to. I think that it does a good enough job of explaining what happens in the first one, but it does skip over everything else from all the other sequels, which I did not watch, thankfully. I also heard that Halloween has a similar thing where they're doing the next two that are coming out are only spiritual sequels, so they only come from the first one. So I actually probably won't watch all of them just to save me time right now. In the future, I might watch more, but I think I might just stick with the first one. But anyway, we're talking about Candyman. I think Candyman was absolutely fantastic, and I if you saw my video this morning that I posted about the first one, I said it was fine, basically. The first one's kind of okay. I didn't love it. I think it was just kind of fine. It was a good horror movie, but not really my type. This is my type. This one's so cool. It takes Candyman from the first one, and it adds more layers, and it makes it way scarier. I mean, like, way scarier. I mean, the first one, is kind of creepy, but it's not really scary. There's not really a whole lot of, scary elements to it. It's more like a really weird folk story. This one is scary. There are times where I'm like, oh god. It's not like the most horrifying film I've ever seen, but it definitely is pretty chilling, and I had a whole lot of fun watching it. So if you haven't seen it, if you want to watch it tomorrow, I recommend you do. It's definitely good. And I want to talk about why I think it was particularly so good. And I think a lot of it has to do with the characters and the way that they introduced Candyman this time. First of all, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is fantastic. He's one of my favorite actors working today, and he really stole the show. He did a fantastic job here. But what I think is even cooler than his character is the way that it relates to Candyman. And it's a spoiler, so I'm not going to talk about it, but it is so freaking cool. And that is why I recommend you watch the first one, because it'll make it a lot easier to understand. I understood, a little bit before the people next to me did. I was there were only 5 of us in the theater. There was me, there were 2 people over there, and 2 people behind me. And the person behind me I knew had seen the original because he went, oh, at the same time I did. So, I was oh, and he was oh, and the people behind me, next to me were just So I recommend you watch it. They got it later, but I recommend you watch the first one. But anyway, Candyman is a little different, and what I mean by that is we actually get a sort of origin story here, whereas in the first one we didn't really get one. It was a kind of origin story without actually talking about the origin. So this one, I actually appreciate that they did give us an origin story, and it's a good origin story, and it makes sense in the context of the film and the film universe. I really did enjoy that. I like how we kind of brought racial discrimination into the play here, which is something that I think happens a lot nowadays in movies, especially, this year. So many movies did that. Not all of them did it successfully. For example, in my opinion, She-Ball didn't do it very successfully. This one did it very successfully, in my opinion. I think it worked very well, and I think it added to the story of Candyman, which is why I think it's important that we need to discuss whether or not it is adding to the story or whether it is just kind of clustering the story. And this one definitely did add to it. I did enjoy it a whole lot. So props to the team surrounding that who were let's do this, and they're okay, good for you. It did work. I did actually and enjoy it. So that was nice to see because it doesn't always work. Candyman's backstory is really cool. Then there's a racial thing, and then I want to talk about the music, because the music is important to me. The music is not as good as the first film. The first film had a super rocking, awesome theme to it, and in the trailer it's there, and in this movie it's not, and I'm really kind of a little frustrated. I'm a little frustrated because I was really looking forward to a super badass moment where the and it just we never got it, and I was like, oh. There are badass moments, but it never had that awesome soundtrack behind it. Not that the soundtrack is bad for this movie. I think it's good. It has another subtle kind of theme behind it, which I think works, but it wasn't as good, in my opinion, as the first one. The next thing I want to talk about is the length, which is it's an hour and a half, and it is perfect. The length is fantastic. I was like, wow, we're in and out. I'm actually going to get enough time to watch The Sopranos tonight. It's going to be great. It was well paced, except for this one part, which is before the part. And if you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's right before that part. There's just this little sag of I don't really know how far into the film we are, and I don't know how much is left. But they need to get to the point now, or we're gonna lose us. And they do. They get there, and I think it was a little bit of a sag, and it didn't quite get there as fast as I wanted it to. But I'm willing to look past it because it did add characterization, and it made the moment a lot better because we were just kind of sitting there oh, okay, this is kind of oh god, it was really cool to see that transition in my feelings. So that was really cool. I appreciated that, but I think it could have been done a little bit better with a little bit less of a sag. But overall, it's a very, very fun movie. I mean, it's scary. It's got fantastic acting, great storytelling. I had a whole lot of fun watching it. So I really do recommend you go see this in theaters if you can. This movie probably isn't as good if it's not in theaters, I think. This is definitely one that I think I would recommend you see in theaters if you can. I know Oneana has many showtimes coming up this week, so definitely check it out if you're in the area. My hometown of Norwich is also showing it, so if you want to check that out, definitely do so. Supporting movie theaters is something we have to do, or else they will not give us movies. We're at that point where they're going to start delaying movies soon because they're not making enough money. So definitely consider going to the movie theater if you can. But I'm going to go ahead and give Candyman an A-. Definitely check this one out if you can. There's no other movie that's coming to the theater this week. That's crazy. But tomorrow my plan is to watch No Man of God and Vacation Friends. That's my plan. I don't know if I will get to them. I do have school until 2, so we'll see kind of how we feel after that. But the plan is to come home and then watch those 2 movies, then go to sleep. And Saturday, I'll just deal with all the homework I have to do. So that's the plan. So I hope you guys are considering subscribing, because it's a huge help. And if you subscribe, you'll get to see all my new videos come out as they do. I do upload at least 3 times a week, so definitely check all of my videos out. It's a huge help. And as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.